Just give me a second, will you?
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning again. This is our press conference. We are going to have about half an hour. I see a member of the media here, 2 members of the media, 3 members of the media, 4 members of the media. Good. 5, great. 6, good. Right, so we are going to start. Lady Anandi, we're going to ask you to begin, and then we will have Dr. Koranteng, and then I think each of you may have presentations you want to do. Then we are going to be taking questions from the media. Let me just welcome my colleagues. They are my colleagues, I cannot now not say so, from the media who are here with us this morning for this very important gathering. So I'm going to ask Lady Koranteng to just address us, or rather Anandi to address us at this time. And then Dr. Roger Koranteng will address us, and then everybody else will make their presentations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. It is my joy, really, to be here with you, ladies and gentlemen, friends of the media of Jamaica, and representing our CCAICACB association, that is the Commonwealth Association of Commonwealth Caribbean Association for Integrity Commissions and Anti-Corruption Bodies. CCAICACB is our acronym.
May I interrupt you for
Yes,
that?
the mic.
Far from the microphone. So
Is it
like you to
maybe?
get a little closer. No, I
That
think
one
it was
seems to
all
be on.
mics were on.
It's off. There's no lights.
All right, I'm checking this one.
Yeah, sure.
Checking this microphone.
You want the bar to sit?
Yes? No?
No, it's not
This
working.
This
one.
one, the lights will be on.
Yeah, it's not working.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay, so if it's nice, do it twice. And good morning, everybody, from especially our colleagues and friends of the media, the Jamaican media. And I'm sure it's like we are saying One Caribbean, and it's One Caribbean Media. And I am, of course, the chairperson of the CCAICACB, the Commonwealth Caribbean Association of Integrity Commissions and Anti-Corruption Bodies. And you would have seen us in procession, coming all the way from the South, Guyana, all through the region, and coming all the way through to the Turks and Caicos, the British Virgin Islands, the protectorates and territories of Great Britain, and all of the other independent states in between that have member states, the OECS, St. Lucia, Grenada. We don't have a representative at the moment from St. Vincent, but coming all the way up, Antigua and Barbuda, Trinidad and Tobago, of course. So many of our CARICOM and Commonwealth and Caribbean states who have made commitments under the UN Convention Against Corruption to really champion the fight towards ensuring that we have sustainable development in this part of the world. Joining us as well, and very heartening to us, even though we were named and have named ourselves the Commonwealth Caribbean, is the eagerness of Dutch St. Martin and Aruba to become associate members of our association. It really is heartening. And when we meet, we know that irrespective of being separated by water, given our history, we are one Caribbean people. Here in Grenada, you have made us feel like your yard is in Jamaica. Sorry, I'm from Grenada. You have made us feel like your yard is our yard. And we all know that we have one fight. We have been joined too by stakeholders who have borne up this organization. In particular, I have my brother and colleague from the Commonwealth Secretariat, and I flag his being here with us this morning because the Commonwealth Secretariat from 2015 to present has been our main sponsor so far. As we know, in times of war, in the absence of peace, we would always now have challenges in terms of how we are going to be funded as money dries up, money is being reallocated, and so on. So as One Caribbean, we ourselves will have to find ways and means to ensure that we can fund this continuing activity. In particular, here in Jamaica, we are here because we have the largest group, small though it is, of 3 members of any one of our territory members. And we have here MOCA, represented of course by its leader, the Colonel, the Integrity Commission, represented here by its executive director and head of the RPD. And they will share with you more about what their acronyms mean. And I say this because this is an opportunity for Jamaica to showcase and educate the population of Jamaica, the citizens of Jamaica, through you, ladies and gentlemen of the media, about what we do. And before I just close this opening statement, we also have stakeholders present with us from the UNODC who have done and are doing a lot of work in the area of organized drugs and crime, in particular corruption. So UNODC, that's United Nations Office for Drugs and Crime. We will also have with us one of the founders of Transparency International Global, And we have at a regional level the CARICOM Impacts and the RSS, who will share with us during our 3-day conference about what is being done regionally in terms of fighting corruption. So we will have Dr. Korenteng, who will speak to us about the Commonwealth-wide efforts and how we are entrenching our anti-corruption benchmarks that have been signed off on by all of the Commonwealth's heads of state. And of course, our members here present at this head table will tell you what they are doing nationally to fight corruption, so that if anyone here in Jamaica did not know before, they will now know after today what is being done. Sometimes we tune out, but today they will help us to tune in on what's happening right here in Jamaica. So thank you very much for listening to my opening statement and remarks.
Thank you, Lady Anande Trotman-Joseph. And now I would like to introduce Dr. Roger Korenteng, the Acting Senior Director, Governance and Peace Directorate, Commonwealth Secretariat.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, and thank you, Lady Anande. Can I say, is this still morning?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's 11:40. Good morning. It's been a pleasure to be here in Jamaica. I think this is my second time of coming here for this conference. We have to step back a little bit as to the role of the Commonwealth in the region, particularly with regards to integrity commissions and anti-corruption bodies. The Commonwealth heads of government will meet every 2 years. They rotate from a region or a continent to a continent. So this year, all the heads of government of the Commonwealth, 56 countries, will be meeting here in the region in Antigua and Barbuda for their meeting called the CHOGAM, Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Now, at that meeting, the Commonwealth Secretariat, which is a secretariat to these heads of government, they will give us our mandate for 2 years as to what we should concentrate on for the 2 years until they meet and they give us another mandate. Now, anti-corruption mandate have been given to us so many times as we can remember. The last one was about the last 3 CHOGA meetings, but before then we can count about as much as 5 or so that the Commonwealth heads of government emphasize the Commonwealth Secretariat should help member countries in their fight against corruption. So based on those mandates, we at the Commonwealth have to act and report to the heads of Commonwealth meetings as to the mandate they have given us. How far have you operationalized those mandates? And at the Commonwealth Secretariat, I'm the one responsible for governance, which include anti-corruption. So I have to figure out how I'm going to operationalize this mandate in all the 56 countries in 2 years to report back. I started off by visiting all the countries and also visiting all the agencies, and I realized that most of the agencies under my portfolio, which include Parliament, Auditor Generals, Accountant Generals, Ombudsman, that's all the oversight institutions, Ombudsman, anti-corruption agencies, Integrity Commission, and all that. I will look at the landscape, and then I realized that most of them has an association, with the exception of anti-corruption and integrity commission. They never had any association within the Commonwealth. They never met. They were operating in their own space in their own countries. So that is when I realized my vision was clear. I have to mobilize the integrity commissions and anti-corruption agencies. So in all the Commonwealth regions, Africa, Caribbean, Pacific, Asia, I started off with the biggest one, which is Africa. Africa have more members in the Commonwealth, followed by Caribbean, then goes to Pacific, then Asia. So I started with Africa, where I formed the Association of African Anti-Corruption Agencies. After that, I moved to Caribbean. Fortunately, in my work in Asia region, I used to invite heads of anti-corruption agencies and senior members of anti-corruption agencies to Singapore to showcase how Singapore have able to achieve anti-corruption fight, or they're able to overcome their corruption. It was that place that I met some of those people that I have come to associate and know them way back about 2009, 2010, thereabout. So when I wanted to set up the Association of Integrity Commissions, I have people on the ground. And one of them was Lady Anande, who I invited those days to Singapore. And some of the in the room here have been in Como. I know them when I invited them. So it was a little easier for me. So the first conference that we had in 2015, which was going to establish our association, was in Grenada, because Lady Anande was there. Again, there was a little bit of history there. When I got to the Commonwealth, the first assignment I got in the Caribbean was that Grenada has passed, is it a Public Life? Integrity Public Life Act, but they have not operationalized it. And Dominica also have done the same thing. They have an act that have not been operationalized. So they want the Commonwealth Secretariat to come in and help them to operationalize. So I went to Dominica with a consultant and came to Grenada to make sure that we operationalize it. In fact, in Grenada also, there was another agency, the Ombudsman also was the same. They have also have an act for Ombudsman which need to operationalize. So I helped. And in fact, I took the first ombudsman in Grenada to, I think, Bermuda or somewhere else to go and understand. Anyway, so fast forward. We had 2015 that we set up the Integrity Commission and Association of Integrity and Commonwealth Association of Integrity Commission and Anti-Corruption Bodies. And ever since, we've been meeting every year. Our third meeting was when we came to Jamaica here, 2017, because the first one was 2015 in Grenada, Tobago, Port of Spain. Trinidad and Tobago was 2016, and 2017 we were in Jamaica, and we have gone round, and have come back here again. The association have a very simple objective: to help our integrity and anti-corruption agencies to support their anti-corruption work in member countries. And we have been quite successful over the past 12 years, because we are on the 12th conference. What I noticed is that integrity commissions and anti-corruption bodies in various jurisdictions were under-resourced. They are under-resourced in terms of their budget, in terms of their resource, human capacity. Some of them have fewer staff and an office. And some of them are not really able to do the work they are doing because of resource constraints. So our Integrity Commission Association has worked hard to make sure that some of the integrity commission have come up. I can remember Guyana has really come up, and other jurisdictions have come up because of association. We have shared best practices. We have exchanged practitioners. We have built capacity over the years, and now we are here. So coming here means that the association have been strengthened over the 12 years, dealing with corruption and supporting our members through hard times and through difficult times. But the corruption is still with us, and we need to strengthen our resolve to fight the corruption. Somebody will ask, but what have you achieved? We still have corruption. My question is simple. Why do we have police? If you have police, does it mean that crime have stopped? But the fact of the matter is that if you don't have the police, you see what will happen. The same way if you didn't have the integrity commissions and anti-corruption bodies, even the crime rate we have now would have been increased. So the message is simple. Our government must resource and support our integrity commissions and anti-corruption bodies so that they can be able to do what the Act says they should do. And we in the Commonwealth Secretariat, that is our mandate, to help member countries to deal with their corruption. So this week, we're going to discuss a lot, including the funding that we need to, because the Commonwealth Secretariat funding is dwindling. And having supported the association for over 10 years, I think it's about time we have to discuss how we're going to strengthen our association in terms of resource mobilization. And also to take account of how far we have come in helping to deal corruption in the region. Because at the end of the day, that is the most important thing. In terms of our public education, is our people, our citizens accepting corruption as order of the day, or they abhor it and they are ready to call out on people who are corrupt, because we cannot fight corruption alone. We need all hands on deck, and that is what Commonwealth will do. We have the convening power to bring agencies together to think about their own strategies as to how to deal with an issue. So we have magistrate, we have lawyers association, and then we have anti-corruption association, we have ombudsman association. So what we do is that we bring all these agencies together for them to look at best practices, hold each other's hands, and labor on. So I'm expecting that this conference will achieve that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let me apologize. There was a phone ringing in the vicinity. I hope it didn't throw you off.
No, it didn't take my mind off.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Roger Caranteng. And now, Mr. Craig Beresford, the Executive Director of the Integrity Commission here in Jamaica, will... You want MOCA to speak first? All right, let me do that then. So Colonel Desmond Edwards of MOCA, Director General, that's the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, will speak at this time.
Thank you very much, Miss Faye Ellington. Auntie Faye. Good morning all. It's a pleasure for us to be co-hosts along with the Integrity Commission and RPD on this very important, at this very important conference. Now, corruption is not a new phenomenon. It's as old as humanity. It has always been something that has been grappled with, and as society has changed and adapted, so too has the mechanisms and methodologies of how corrupt actors perpetrate their, carry out their operations. What we have seen in this era is a very extraordinary evolution in the methodologies of corruption. So with the rise of technology, we saw for example, where all traditional methods of stealing money, moving money, perpetrating fraud has migrated onto the cyber platform. This became even more obvious to us as an investigative agency during COVID, when most persons work from home and basically did their business from home on online platforms. So we saw an exponential growth in that kind of corruption mechanism. So while the technology has facilitated the growth in the problem, it has also, I believe, provided an opportunity for our response to this, to these issues. The advent of AI, for example, has enabled us, law enforcement, as well as the criminal actors, to fight the problem. So we have adapted at MOCA. We have had to evolve as well to meet the challenges posed by the environment. We have had to improve our cyber forensic capacities significantly, both in the use of technology as also in the use of our number of personnel and training mechanisms. We have had to establish highly specialized cyber investigations team. The MOCA establishment initially had not contemplated having specialized cyber investigators. We have had to do that just to respond to the frequency and number of phishing scams and fraud affecting financial institutions and their clients and customers. We have also had to establish a specialized data hub analysis team within our criminal analysis department, just to go through the reams and reams of data that we uplift in the pursuance of our investigations. There's one particular investigation, for example, where we have had to sift through 17 terabytes of data. Right? You can't do that manually. So we have had to invest in software to assist us in doing that. We have also had to onboard as critical staff financial forensic analyst. Again, wasn't perceived or conceived at the outset when the organization was established. So we have had to adapt to meet the challenges of the evolving environment. And this change will continue because we are always changing and adapting, and the criminals are doing the same thing. Right? So I think we're in a position now to effectively face the challenges. The point was made that you will never fully stamp out corruption, but our aim really is to impact it significantly. Go for the big fish, target the methodologies used, and to continue to identify and focus on attainable goals where tackling the problem is concerned. So we welcome this conference. We welcome the opportunity to exchange ideas, exchange best practices, and to learn from each other in how we can tackle what is certainly a national, regional, and global problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Colonel Desmond Edwards of MOCA. And now I'd like to introduce the Executive Director of the Integrity Commission, Mr. Craig Beresford. It's now in your hands, sir.
Good morning, members of the media, my colleagues, and the leadership of the CCAICACB. Now, this morning, I will have to pivot because my words would have been more welcoming remarks, but I think that we have had sufficiently exhausted that for today. I want to talk a little about the regional integration generally and the importance of this body to the fight against corruption. I think the time has come to treat anti-corruption as a regional public good, one in which we look at harmonized legislation across the region instead of that disparity where you have different countries having different type of legislations. If we are all going to fight in a cohesive way, it is very important that we use similar tools. Now, at the Integrity Commission, we fight corruption on 4 fronts. 1, prevention; 2nd, detection; 3rd, investigation; and lastly, prosecution. On the prevention side, we are advancing the development of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy. We would have been a bit slow in its implementation, but we intend to accelerate it to see how best we can bring our national players together and singing from one hymn sheet, because that's very important. We can't all be going in different direction, and we can't all be walking together and not holding hands. So it's going to be very important for us to be working together. We intend to engage key stakeholders at the community level, because we understand that if the persons on the ground do not appreciate what the impact of corruption is on their way of life, we are not going to be able to win this war. On the issue of detection, which is extremely important, we continue to strengthen our statutory declaration regime. And this is where we examine the statutory declaration of key public officials. Well, let me backtrack. All public officials who are required, because I don't want to be taken out of context with that word key. But we continue to tap into the use of technology. So we are building our big data analytical tools. We are strengthening our case management tools and our forensic tools. And these cut over into investigation, who does a lot of work in that respect. Investigations also is done in a collaborative way. The legislation speaks to competent authorities, and MOCA is one such competent authority that we work with, and we have an excellent relationship, and we continue to conduct joint interviews, etc. As it concerns the issue of capacity building, we are getting a lot of support from our partners to assist with building the capacity, because of course, you know, the public want to see results, and in order for us to achieve the result, we need to have competent staff who are able to investigate these matters. And I know that the public is impatient, and Justice would have mentioned that, and we appreciate it, but investigations take time. We have to ensure that we're diligent, not only just to deliver a result, but to deliver quality results. So today, colleagues, I'm not going to detain you too much because I know the media would want to ask some questions, but I want to say that we're happy to be hosting this conference, the 12th annual CCAICACB conference, and we're happy to partner with our host colleagues to deliver this. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. That's Craig Beresford, the Executive Director of the Integrity Commission. I just made some notes here. The investigation takes time and add terabytes. Yes. Let me now ask Mr. Cranston Morgan, Chief Technical Director of the Revenue Protection Department, to bring his comments.
Thank you. And I think I'm the only one that gets to say good afternoon. Right? Before I get into what I have prepared, I just want to follow up on something that Mr. Beresford mentioned. And following on from the theme of One Caribbean and United for Integrity. As was stated in the presentation, one of the presentations earlier, that up to 4.4% of the GDP of Latin America and Caribbean is lost or eroded through corruption. That's by any stretch of the imagination, that is a huge figure. When we look at the Jamaican situation, our own national security policy has us at 5%, and a figure of about 100 billion Jamaican dollars each year. So it is issue. But I want to address the usual question that I come across in my work. When I tell people that I work at the Revenue Protection Department, they say, "What do you do? What does RPD do?" So since the media is here, I'll take the opportunity to inform the media and the public as to our role. So the Revenue Protection Department is a department of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. We were formerly a division. We have a little more autonomy now, so we become a department. We are tasked with protecting the revenue intake and the institutions that are tasked with revenue collection. Our powers are founded in the Revenue Administration Act, and you can look at that. In 2023, our role was expanded because there was a merger with the Public Accountability Inspectorate, which was another division of the Ministry of Finance. The PAI, as it is called, they were tasked with ensuring that the taxpayers of Jamaica get good value from the approximately 200 ministries, departments, agencies, and other public bodies, government-owned companies. But how do we carry out our functions? I'd say it is a three-legged stool. We investigate allegations of fraud and corruption within the revenue entities. That is probably what we are most known for. We do a lot of education work. So we do presentations in schools with lay magistrates and other senior government officials, including our parliamentarians. We haven't done any this new parliamentary term, but before we made presentations to members of parliament to ensure that they understood the governance framework. The third leg of that stool is assurance. We do vetting of employees for the revenue entities and some other entities, the Accountant General's Department, for example. We do governance audits across all the MDAs, well, as much as we can with our limited staff. And we do infrastructure audits to ensure that the buildings and other infrastructure that they are fit for purpose in ensuring that the revenue collected stays in the coffers, etc. We work closely with our co-hosts, MOCA and the IC, and other entities that I like to call integrity adjacent. The entities such as the FID, which houses Jamaica's FIU. It's a very important institution. Our FATF and CFATF obligations are quite important. We don't want to end up on any black or grey lists. We also work with our Supreme Audit Institution, which is the Auditor General's Department. We share information with these and other entities. We know that gangs and other criminal formations have their ways of communicating and cooperating, and if law enforcement, because that is essentially what we are, if we don't do that, we'll certainly be left behind. We cannot afford for that to happen. I'd just like to say now that the RPD is proud to be a co-host of this conference, and I'm looking forward to some positive coverage in the press. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. If you just allow us to get some water to you, I think, and to top up somebody else, I think Mr. Beresford could be topped up as well. And then it's time to have the media ask their questions. Just raise your hand and I will get this microphone to you. Who is going to start off? Yes, thank you. And just identify your name and your media house. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Edmund Campbell, Lena Company. All right. The Caribbean Association of Integrity, Commonwealth Caribbean Association of Integrity Commissions. I've listened to the comments and remarks made even during the opening ceremony in relation to the support that this body provide to the various anti-corruption agencies, particularly in integrity commissions of the region. And I'm just wondering, it is no secret, I suppose, and I'm just getting straight to the point. It is no secret that in Jamaica, particularly in recent times, we've seen where there has been significant pushback on our local integrity commission in various respects in relation to investigations that they have conducted. Without going into details, we have seen where attempts have been made to block the Integrity Commission from completing investigations in more than one instance, that is public bodies and government agencies. And we've also seen in recent times, as in the last few weeks, if not months, we have seen where a report was sent to our Parliament for tabling. And the leadership of Parliament had indicated that they would not table that report because they are waiting on certain processes in the court to be completed before. So my question is, what kind of practical support does this Commonwealth body gives to individual anti-corruption agencies when they find themselves facing significant challenges in their own jurisdiction? Does this body speak with one voice to support their various associations?
So I
Lady
believe-
Ananda, that looks like you.
Yes, it sounds and looks like me, and here I am. Now, if we are familiar with the way international and regional mechanisms work, you would understand, of course, as member organizations, that we would always give solidarity to our members. We stand as one. We learn from each other's lessons, so what perhaps is happening now in Jamaica may have happened in another territory. And I do recall there was a time when I was chairperson of the Integrity Commission of Grenada, and I called for help because we were just up and emerging, and we actually called on Jamaica for help. At that time, the chairperson of the organization was Jamaica, and we called on the immediate past chairperson from the Turks and Caicos for assistance. So I am saying that the operative word here is call on. Now, I believe, given our work and interactions with the Jamaican members, that they are quite capable of solving these problems. There are, of course, always good offices available if requested, but listening to the issues that you refer to in particular, the legal mandate, the law, will always have a solution. And where those solutions are not expressed, then the particular member who may be among us at the head table has redress to the courts of Jamaica. And somehow those courts will have to come up with a solution through purposive interpretation of the laws of Jamaica. I'm saying all of this that sometimes things seem immediately to be hurdles or issues or not moving, but I'm almost certain, I can't speak for Jamaica, and sometimes we've heard about investigations, certain aspects of what is happening behind the scenes, be it legal advice, be it court filings and so on, very likely would be taking place. So, like I said, we stand in solidarity as a regional body with our Jamaican members and counterparts and colleagues. So I trust that that's what I've shared would be helpful in the circumstances you describe.
And let me just say, I think we're going to be closing off at about 12:30, so let's ask those questions and get those answers.
Garfield, Angus, Jamaica Information Service. Dr. Roger, you mentioned earlier that funding is dwindling from the Commonwealth, and you're going to be discussing with the associations different sources of funding. Would you make a call from here that the various states should provide more funding for the group?
Yes. The simple answer is yes. I will make a call. Because these are state public institutions, and they were set up for a good purpose. They were set up for good governance. You see, if you take the concept of good governance, every public sector institutions have that overarching goal of promoting good governance in your country. So whether it be Integrity Commission, Anti-Corruption Body, Police, Supreme Audit Institution, Parliament, Executive, Judiciary, all of us, all these institutions are promoting good governance. We take it from different angles. And it is incumbent on the state to provide the resources and the funding. But for you to understand the present, you should also know where you are coming from, because the past will inform the present. Now, I'm talking about generally not only Jamaica. In the Caribbean, what I've noticed over my long experience working with the Commonwealth over a decade, how where agencies came into being. You realize that some of the agencies came into being were established because international organizations like the Bretton Woods institutions make it a conditionality for these agencies like Integrity Commission, Anti-Corruption Bodies, or any other agents to be set up so that you can get support in terms of loan and other grants, because they want you to promote good governance. So put this one in place so that you don't siphon off. Now, when that is the case, most of the time, because it is not coming from the state itself that this is what is required, once it's a conditionality, they just set up something just so that they can get the resources they are looking for from this international community. And therefore, the agencies is not thought through properly. They just pass the act, no resource for them to work very well, because it was afterthought. It's not. Now, when an agency, a country have set up, discuss in Parliament, say we need this agency because it's very important that we have them. The way they resource that agency is different because you've thought through it. So I begin to realize that if you look at the agencies that have been set up across, some of them were conditionality, some of them were product of maybe a constitution or an act of parliament, and all of them, of course, will come through an act of parliament. But where the drivers were coming, what drive them, will determine whether you'll be giving more resources or not. And therefore, my point is that whether it came as a conditionality or it was thought through, whatever it is a state institution, and they are providing such an important work, and therefore the state, must resource them. They must, because if you don't, future generation will ask questions. Why is that we have so much corruption? Why didn't our predecessors help? Why did they solve? Because if we are suffering now, you should know that those who came before you enjoy and they didn't make any allowances for the present generation. That's why we are suffering. But when you put the right strategies in place now, then the future generation will come and benefit. So I think that we should, and the government must do that. It's important for good governance and going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes?
Good morning, everyone. Mahir Stewart, Nationwide News here. The question to all three of the local bodies that we have here: is there anything you've observed from other anti-corruption agencies internationally or even within the region that you believe could strengthen the ones down here were those methods to be implemented?
Yeah, that's a very good question, actually. Thanks for that question. When MOCA was established, it was loosely modeled off what two agencies, the National Crime Agency of the UK and the FBI, in terms of the FBI, particularly in terms of some of the roles that it took on. We did look at the mandates of those entities and how they approach them. So to answer your question, yes, we did look at two fairly well-resourced and respected first-world investigative agencies that had an anti-corruption mandate enshrined in their to-do list, so to speak. But we have also learned significantly as well from our regional partners that we have interacted with. And even our local partners. Some of the local agencies represented here and others that were mentioned, the FDI, for example, have unique competencies that help in the fight against corruption that we leverage. So we are unified. We work closely together. We all have MOUs that underscore how we can collaborate and work on particular matters. So yes, we do in fact learn from each other and learn from others outside.
All right, thank you very much. Similarly, we appreciate the collaboration at the local level. When it comes to anti-corruption, though, in the Caribbean, I dare say that Jamaica is the model. We have the only single anti-corruption agency. And it's a new piece of legislation, and as you can all see unfolding in Jamaica, it has its kinks. And hopefully the legislators will pay some attention to strengthening the Integrity Commission Act, because that is extremely important. It's an institution that I believe that should not in any way, shape, or form be diluted, and something that should be a beacon of hope for Jamaica. So from where I sit, I want to encourage Jamaicans to support the Integrity Commission. I know that we get a lot of criticisms for various reasons, and we understand. Persons want to see results. Persons want to see us being able to deliver on our mandate a bit more. And I can assure Jamaicans that we are doing our best to strengthen our respective processes and to be more aggressive towards completing our investigations and deliver to the Jamaican people. Thank you.
Are there any other? Oh, sorry, Mr. Morgan.
All right. So we have picked up, best practices from attending these conferences. But the thing about the Revenue Protection Department is that you don't find similar institutions across the Caribbean. We were modeled somewhat off Her Majesty's Revenue Service in the UK, and the investigative side of the IRS in the US. So what we do is that we ensure that our activities are benchmarked against the international best practices put out by the UN and so on. So that's what we do. Thanks.
Yes, just a follow-up question to Mr. Beresford. In terms of your call for the strengthening of the IC Act, strengthen it in what way specifically?
All right. Over the last, I say, 5 years, we have made certain recommendations to Parliament with respect to strengthening areas with respect to our investigation processes. issues concerning our very independence, how that can be strengthened, is something that we have advanced. And then we have to also consider the new and emerging issues and challenges that we face now. A lot of the problems that we have, Parliament needs to act to ensure that it does not continue. We can't have an integrity commission that is established to do what it is expected to do based on the legislation, and then we're prevented to do it effectively. So it's really analyzing the problems as they manifest themselves and seeing how best we can fix those problems. And you will notice I'm not being too specific, right? And that is intentional. But we do have recommendations in our annual reports, and I can assure you there will be more recommendations coming now based on what we see happening.
Thank you. I think we have another question here.
Dr. Corante, one question to you, sir. From where you sit, I was thinking about our local anti-corruption body, the Integrity Commission. The legislators, when they were crafting the legislation, they placed in the legislation what we called a gag clause, clause 53 and 56, which prevents the Integrity Commission from speaking or saying anything at all about their investigation until a report is tabled in Parliament. Now, our local Integrity Commission has recommended to Parliament that that gag clause be relaxed to allow them to be able sometimes to interact with the public, depending on the nature of the investigation. I want to ask you, from where you sit, do you see similar provisions in other jurisdictions that would effectively gag the Integrity Commission bodies from speaking to the public?
Yes. Again, the Commonwealth legislations are almost the same because we all come from the same tradition. You know, so most of the from Singapore to Africa to Caribbean to Pacific, they are the same. There are a few nuances here and there. And the gap clause, as you mentioned, is always part of the Commonwealth tradition or the UK tradition. And it's for a good reason. But I'm sure the Integrity Commission or the anti-corruption bodies also may have a good reason why they want that. But let's talk about the good reason why it is there. You see, when you are somebody's under investigation, that doesn't mean that the person has been convicted. And you are talking about people's integrity, which they have built for years. So when you are investigating the person, I think it's important to maintain that reputation of that person, because once it gets out there, and as in the event that the person was not found culpable, what have you done to that reputation that you have built over 30 years, 20 years? So the gap is to allow that reputation to be intact until it goes to court. Because when they get to court, it's a public place. Whatever happened in the court, anybody can talk about it. But until you get to court, you don't have to broadcast that to destroy the reputation or the integrity of that person. So that's why the gap clause is there, to protect individuals' reputation. And however, if individual anti-corruption agents or integrity commission think that that gap clause should be lifted, again, there's a provision for them to go to court, for the court to lift it up. I've seen it in various countries, in particularly the developed countries like Australia, New Zealand, and even UK, where they protect the gap, will protect, but then sometimes the court can allow you to lift it up. Sometimes also they get, like recently, Peter Manderson had his secret files being shared by the public now, because it's in the public interest. So again, there's a provision for you to follow, and I'm sure the judges, with their wisdom, will make a determination. determination whether it should be taken or it should be lifted or not. So thank you.
Thank you. We're going to wrap up now, but I have a question for you, Mr. Morgan.
Sure.
100 billion lost in revenue each year. Can you give us a little breakdown? Where's the biggest loss coming from?
No. So that figure actually comes from the national security policy. So it is estimated that 5% of Jamaica's GDP is lost to corruption throughout the year. It doesn't give a breakdown as to area. I would think from just being in the space that a lot of it comes from procurement and contract issues. That's what I would think.
Thank you. I've just been naughty. But I thought it was an important question. Let me thank my colleagues from the media and thank our speakers. I hope the conference will be really productive and that the sharing of the partnerships will strengthen the need for legislation, improved and otherwise, and the working together, not in silos, because that is so important, and holding hands as you go along. You have this country's and all the countries' future in your organizations. And I stood here and I listened both this morning and now, and I wondered, are we gone too far? Can we pull it back? I leave it right there. Thank you very much. I hope you'll enjoy your break, there's stuff back here, but I know you might be thinking of lunch, and arrangements are made, and the staff from the team will guide you. Thank you so much. Could you just recognize them? Thank you so very much.